Tiger, I hope you've had a chance to familiarize yourself with the golf course this week.
Actually, I haven't. I just got in today. I chipped and putted for a little bit, worked on my short game, and worked on the speed of these greens. From what I've been told, the golf course is playing great. It's fast. Rough is up and consistent. And they have the ability to get these greens to whatever speed they want. And so just right here on the chipping green, just be able to hear the chips, make that hard skip and see it make a hard skip. It's going to be a good test this week.
You've won 8 times here in 17 previous starts. Talk a little bit about what this tournament means to you. I know some of your most memorable moments have happened over on that 18th green with Mr. Palmer.
Yeah, to be able to win this tournament and have Arnold there and to shake his hand, for him to give me a big hug. And a couple times he says, I called it. I knew you were going to make that putt. And it was little things like that. The last, sharing jokes with him out there on the green, and he and I laughing. Those are moments that, unfortunately, that I'll never have, but I have those memories.
All right, we'll get started with Todd in the back.
Tiger, going back to the hero, you said you didn't really know what your expectations were as you progressed. You said you wanted to get some rounds under your belt, maybe be competitive. Now, considering how well you played last week and you come here where you have won 8 times, what are your expectations this week?
Well, I just keep getting better. Just keep making incremental improvements. And I think I've done that. Each and every week I've learned from what I've done. And more importantly, I'm learning my body. I'm learning how I can swing it and not swing it. My recovery, these are all things that are new. And so I'm still learning. I'm getting a lot better at it, which is nice. And I think that you're starting to see the fruits of that now, of the little tweaks I've made, and I'm excited about it.
All right, over here, Evan. Yep.
Tiger, there were times the past few years when chipping and putting were about all that you were cleared to do. I know obviously that wasn't by design, but do you think in hindsight that is part of why your short game has come back as strong as it has?
Not at all.
Really?
No, because I think that was part of one of the bigger misconceptions with my back. The least amount of pain I felt was hitting a driver. It was anytime I bent over that far to hit a putt or chip that my back pain was off the charts. And so I couldn't chip, I couldn't putt. And so it was that was the hard part, is that now, I can hit a driver out there and get it somewhere in play and play from there, but your scoring is around the greens. I wasn't able to practice it. And so that part was difficult. Now that I'm feeling better, I'm able to dedicate some time to it again and not have the shooting pain down my leg or my foot not work anymore. All those things that I was struggling with for a couple of years there.
All right, let's go to Dave on the aisle and then the back corner. Right here.
Tiger, curious, there's obviously an evolution to all this as far as your physical abilities and so forth. I was wondering maybe if you could speak to the mental aspect and obviously not knowing what to expect, not knowing how your body was going to react, and now knowing some things. Do you go from an expectation, or I guess from not knowing to an expectation of winning, or at least thinking about winning?
No, I would just have to say is just like what I keep saying, just enjoy this. You would have asked me this at the President's Cup last year, didn't know. And so for me to go from not knowing whether or not I will ever be able to play the game again to, I might be able to play it maybe at the tour level. Actually, I might be able to make a couple of cuts. Oh, I might be able to, possibly get myself into the mix. Oh, I'm in the mix. And so there's a process and evolution to it. And it's been quick, but still, I have to say, just enjoy all of this, because I at one point, I wasn't even a thought. I didn't ever think of playing out here.
All right, let's go to the back corner.
Tiger, does it feel the same to be in the mix as it did the first time around? Does it?
It
and
does.
can you practice as much as you'd like these days, or are you restricted at all?
I'm probably more restricted than I used to be. I try and get my work in and get out of it. Staying there and lingering on the range for 3-4 hour sessions, it's just not happening anymore. I think that's also not only the function of my injuries and the surgeries I've had, but also the function of just getting older as an athlete. And so, yeah, the more important thing is my recovery for the next day. Get my work in, and how I need to recover for the next day to be able to do it again, and do it consecutive days, consecutive weeks, consecutive months, and to keep doing that. And I've been able to find that balance.
All right, let's go to Doug, and then we'll get Mike and Edgar in the back.
I had a couple things kind of along those lines. You always talk during your time away about missing the competition mostly. Based specifically on last week, is it possible you missed it more than you realized? Did it take that to realize how much you'd missed it?
I did miss it quite a bit, and I wouldn't say that it took last week to remind me of that. You think that, yeah, it's very easy to get yourself into the mix and feel that again, but it's 3.5 days or 3 days of work to get to that point. And that's where I was looking at, yeah, once I get there, I'll be all right. But it's getting to that point, is getting my game consistent and good enough where I can play myself in contention. Once I get there, I've done it enough times, I'll figure it out. But getting to that point is a different story.
And then secondly, in terms of not competing, I can't imagine you've ever been to Augusta without golf clubs until the last 2 dinners you went
Correct.
to. Is that correct? What was that like, being there and with no clubs?
Frustrating. Very frustrating, because I love playing Augusta National. I love it. And I know how to play it. Sometimes I don't play it well, but I know how to play it. And I just miss being out there on those greens and hitting putts and being creative. There's no other golf course like it in the world, and there's no other golf tournament like it. It is literally it's a player's heaven, and the last couple dinners have been frustrating in that aspect for sure, but none more so when Jack and I walked Arnold into the dinner. That was tough. Because we all knew.
All right, back corner. Let's go to Mike.
Tiger, speaking of Arnie, what do you miss most about him not being with us? Do you ever find yourself wanting to pick up the phone and call him for some sort of advice?
I used to do that. He was a friend. I first met Arnold when I played here in the U.S. Junior when I was 15, and then I moved here in '96, and he invited me over here playing his Monday shootout, and I did, and I didn't like it very much because he took my money, but I thoroughly enjoyed being around him, being with him, and we had so many great times. None more so than the last time I won here. We're over there, and I'm cleaning out my locker, and he's over there having his iced tea thing, and so he's just sitting there, and hey, grab a seat. Absolutely, yes sir. So we sat down and we just started to BS and have a great time together, and I'm gonna miss those times for sure.
Also, have you found yourself, as you've grown older, in any way trying to emulate anything he did?
Yeah, the way he hitched his pants up, on the side like that, I just can't make it look cool.
All right, Edgar.
You forged friendships out here with some of the younger players in recent years, and what was that a conscious effort, and what's been kind of the benefit for you there?
Well, I think it just happened with my injuries. I was out, and being part of the Ryder Cup team, being an assistant captain or vice captain, and then getting to know the guys that were going to be on the team and working with them to try and figure out who would play best with whom. And the same thing with last year with the President's Cup. And so that was it was an evolution that I didn't foresee happening, because I thought I would be more of the player, but I wasn't able to play yet. So I got to know them on a totally different side and got to watch them play. And then they would ask questions about, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? How do you hit this? How do you hit that? Where do you think I can improve? And it was an open dialogue with a lot of these guys, and they've done well, and it's fun to see.
Jason Day talked about you 2 years ago when he won here as having an impact, texting with him and stuff like that. he's been through a lot since that win here in that season. Have you kind of been there for him during that?
He's had some tough times with his own health, his mom's, obviously what just happened with he and his family. He's had some really tough goes, and it's tough to listen to him go through that because he's a friend of mine. You know, I don't want any of those things to happen to him or his family. But the kid's tough. I mean, he can handle a lot, and I think he's shown, you know, how strong-willed he is. He's really trying to fight and get back out here, but also he understands there's a very important balance with family, and knows how important it is to have them there, part of his life, because, you know, he lost his father as well. So he and I can relate to that, and we've talked about that numerous times.
All right, let's take two on the aisle here.
Tiger, to what do you attribute your impressive club head speed off the driver after 4 back surgeries so quickly with this comeback?
Dude, if I knew, I'd tell you. I don't know. It just happened. I used to swing it at, with a 43.5-inch steel shaft to probably about 126 or so. And I know these shafts are much lighter than I was then, slightly longer. But still, I don't know, because I went through a number of years where I just couldn't get speed. Now all of a sudden it's just happening. And I think what we think is, you know, amongst my inner circle is that I was living in so much pain I didn't know it. And I was just going through that slide of just protecting, playing around it. And I didn't know. I thought, oh, I hit that hard, and it's like slow-mo. But to me, it felt hard. Now I don't feel like I'm swinging very hard, but it's producing some incredible speeds, which I'm not against.
All right, let's go Mark, Scott, and then Bob.
Tiger, I think it was before Genesis. I think you used the term "it's winning time," and that was only two tournaments in to your comeback. I just wonder, with the progression of the last couple weeks, particularly as close as you were on Sunday, if that's more applicable this week. Certainly, given the fact you've won here 8 times.
Just because I've won here 8 times doesn't mean I'm gonna win this week automatically. You know, I still got to do the work. Yeah. I still got to go through the process of getting myself in position. But I understand this golf course. I've played it under so many different varying conditions. I got to do some serious homework tomorrow, though, and really get to know and get the feel of how this golf course is playing this particular year, considering I hadn't played here in 5 years. And so I really need to do some good homework tomorrow. Joey and I have been texting a lot, talking a little bit today about how the golf course is playing, and then we're going to do some work tomorrow.
And just as a quick follow, did you, assuming you went kind of over your round on Sunday in your mind, you know, I'm sure you're kind of racing after it's all over, were there a couple particular moments that you look back on it the most and thought, you know, if I do that, maybe I'm winning?
You know, I just wasn't sharp with my irons that particular day, and I knew it. When I was warming up, I wasn't very sharp with them. And then, you know, not feeling sharp with them, I got to be a little bit more conservative, you know, firing into some of these flags. And I gave myself a chance. If I was a little bit sharper, might have been a different story. But Paul went out there and put it on us. He shot 65 and put it on us. And he did it, and the rest of us didn't.
All right, let's go Scott and then Bob.
Tiger, you seem to harbor at least a shred of hope the last couple of years up to the last minute that you might be able to fashion something together at Augusta and maybe be able to play. Was that the case? And then how eager are you to get back on that course feeling the way you do now with these young guys?
Yeah, I was trying. I mean, if there's one term I could come back to, it would be that one. There's no other tournament like it. And it has a deep place in my heart, from the time I was there as an amateur to my first win and to my other wins there as well. But I just love playing Augusta National, and I was just hoping I could just get my back hold out for just 4 days. I don't need the practice rounds. I can just walk them and take a look at them and maybe chip and putt a little bit. But can it hold out for 4 days? And there was no chance, no.
All right, let's go to Bob, and then we'll wrap it up with 2 on the front row here.
How eager are you to get back on
Very eager, yes, very. I feel like I'm physically able to do it again, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, Bob, and then wrap it up right here.
Tiger, you answered the question on Sunday after the round about your decision off the tee on 18. I'm just curious, though, the fact that at this point in your comeback, there's already maybe a little bit of second guessing about your game. Do you take anything good out of that, and then that's what the question is at this point already? I mean, that so quickly it's turned into that, as opposed to, how do you feel, or can you even play? And now all of a sudden it's gone to, hey, why didn't you hit more club off the tee, or whatever the choice may have been?
Yeah, I understand their point. That hole doesn't really fit my eye that well. I hit two 2-irons and 2 3-woods there that week, and 2 balls were in the right gallery, and so I didn't have a whole lot going into that last hole. Figured if I hit the ball in the fairway, iron game, get it somewhere around pin high, a little bit left of the flag, and let's bury a putt. And that's what I tried to do. I didn't do it. But for people to look at it in that perspective versus look at where I've come from in such a short span of time and how I've battled to get to this point, I implore them to look at it more that way. That's how I'm looking at it, because as I was alluding to earlier, I didn't really know if I could be here again. And the fact that I'm here again, it's been a lot of hard work to get here.
Tiger, to that end, you really didn't need to hit a lot of drivers there. Conceivably here you will. Obviously at Augusta, a lot more opportunities. And yet it seems you were hitting it pretty well when you needed to. I mean, how good do you feel about that club? How much work is there more to go?
Well, I missed a couple fairways here and there, but I missed them on the sides I wanted to. I think there's maybe just one drive where I didn't miss it on a correct side. Everyone was on a correct side. And I think the only one I didn't hit it was over on, 5. I hit in the right bunker like the first day, I think. But other than that, I hit the ball on the correct sides. And so that part is huge, because I'm able to play around the golf and shape my misses correctly again. This week, it's not single file going down the fairways like it was last week. This place is a little bit more wide open. It encourages one to be more aggressive off the tees, get it down there a little bit further, and gives me more room. Quite frankly, last week, not a lot of guys were hitting driver. It was a very tight golf course and played under some very tricky conditions.
All right, last 2 right here, and we'll wrap it up with Jeff.
Can you elaborate on if you're spending more time stretching before your round than earlier in your career? And do you find yourself using the Tour's Player Performance Center more since your return?
Yeah, when I was younger, I didn't have to stretch. I started initially lifting weights is to get tighter because I was so loose. I was so flexible. I needed to get a little bit tighter. And so that's why I started lifting. And I felt so much better being a little bit tighter, but coming from where I was coming from. I've been using the van. The guys working on me a little bit just to keep me loose and mobile, keep me warm, because a car ride over here get a little tight. I need to get warm, keep moving, and be ready to be explosive. And so, that's where the guys in the trailer are fantastic. They've seen me over the years. Some of the guys have been working on me for 10, 15 years, so they've seen it.
All right, Jeff.
It looked like at Innisbrook, a lot of shots you were really enjoying kind of the rehearsal and kind of preparing to play the shape of the shot. Is that something that has come back about at the pace you thought you would, the creativity? And then also, are you looking forward to Augusta in part because it allows you to kind of be more creative?
I finally have gotten to the point where my back is good enough where I can let my hands tell me what to do. My hands tell me how to shape a golf shot. And I've built this golf swing that you see me out there swinging a golf club around with my hands. My dad always used to say that. It's the only thing we have direct contact with the club. And so trust your hands. Playing baseball as a kid, you have to trust your hands. You trust your eyes, trust your hands. And so that's what I've done. I've trusted my hands again. My right arm and neck aren't shaking because my back's out and my nerve's out and it's inflamed. I don't have those issues anymore, so I can trust my hands again. And so, yeah, you see me creating shots and doing different things. And, yeah, I'm trying to see what trajectory, what shape I want to do it. And I'm letting these guys tell me, what to do.
Is that more fun way to play the game for you, too?
It is. I've gone back to a lot of the stuff I used to do with my dad and how he first taught me how to play golf. And, when I said it after the round, I think I told Rex after the round, yes, what were you thinking on the putt on 17? I said, just putt to the picture. That's what my dad taught me. How do you teach a kid when he's so small, he doesn't understand an inch and a mile? Well, you take a look and you putt to that picture, and that's what I did. I kept telling myself, just putt to the picture, and I hold it.
All right, Tiger Woods, thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.